Today I'm breaking down Retell AI. Fast, simple, and perfect for business builds. I'll show you the best settings, prompting, even how to connect it to Makecom easily, and real-time knowledge bases. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Mark Tomlett. I specialize in building AI voice agents for businesses, and I also run one of the largest communities for AI voice enthusiasts and entrepreneurs. I'm glad to have you on board, and I'm very excited today to dive right into Retell AI. Type in retellai.com, and we'll come to this section, and you just would log in. At this point, you'd create an account, obviously, just like Vappy. But you can see here, there's some agents I've been playing with, but we're going to create a new agent, and the dashboard's pretty simple. Looking around here, you have, your phone numbers, call history, API keys, webhooks. But what we're interested in right now is how do you actually create a new agent? So we'll go up here, create an agent, and there's two kinds of agents. I'll be going into both of them on this video. Well, technically three, but they're single prompt and custom LLM are practically the same, except you're hooking up your own ChatGPT model that you've created, basically. So we'll do single prompt agent, and let's try. I've already gone ahead and created an agent for you guys so you can see what it looks like. It's a surf shop agent named Matt. I'm a big surfer, so this would probably be interesting to some of you guys. Let's try this right now.
Thank you for calling Seaside Surf Shop. This is Matt. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, Matt? I'm looking to rent a surfboard. Do you have any recommendations?
Hey there. Absolutely, I can help with that. Are you thinking of a longboard, shortboard, or maybe a soft top to keep things easy?
Well,
Let me know what you're leaning towards.
Matt, I have no idea like how to surf. Where do you even begin?
No worries at all. Starting with a soft top board is a great choice for beginners. They're super stable and forgiving. Plus, we offer surf lessons if you want some guidance.
Oh, you do?
Booking a lesson?
I don't want to book a lesson, but I kind of like to learn myself. So, could I maybe buy a soft top from you? What would that cost me, maybe?
Totally. A soft top board is perfect for learning on your own. Prices usually start around $300 depending on the size and brand.
Ooh.
We've got some great options in the shop.
Okay. Do you have any? I would like to swing by, but do you have any discounts?
Right now, we're running a sweet 10% off deal on all wetsuits, but for surfboards, it's best to keep an eye on our website or pop into the shop for any in-store promotions. So you never know when a deal might pop up. Anything
What about?
else I can help you
Yeah,
with?
I'm wondering. Do you guys have any Rip Curl wetsuits? It's pretty cold out here, man.
Rip Curl wetsuits are a solid choice for keeping warm. Our stock changes pretty often, so I'd suggest giving the shop a quick call later today or checking our website for the latest updates. They're definitely popular, so it's worth a look. Anything else I can help you with?
I'm good. Thank you. Have a good day, Matt.
Awesome. Feel free to drop by anytime or check us out online. Have an epic day.
I mean, that was pretty good. I'm impressed. The guy sounded like he just got out of the water. That's how I tuned it to sound. Anyway, so it's a very simple use case. We're not checking availability or doing anything complex in that case, but it just goes to show you how Retell sort of performs in the real world. So let's dive right in. I'm going to show you how to build a simple agent like this, and I'll even give you two of my custom GPTs. One of them is for building the function calling that you need in order to use Retell AI with functions. That's just a simple JSON formatter. And then the next is the best prompting voice agent GPT that I've built. It's very simple. Sets it up for you. So you say something like, hey, I want a dental clinic receptionist AI agent. It goes through all the best promptings. I've given it hundreds of examples, so it does a pretty good job. Let's begin right here then. You start by creating an agent up here, and we'll do a single prompt agent. And so you can see, if we go and create an agent, let's do it right now. Start from blank. You can see there's different examples. Okay. And you can see Retell's dashboard is pretty slick. It looks simple. It's easy to use. And this is just, if you're familiar with Vappy, putting in a simple prompt, its role, conversational style, and etc. I like to take it a step further, and that's what we'll be using the custom GPT for. So why don't we start with that really quick before we get into everything else. Let's actually build the prompt for this agent. Now, if you already know how to prompt, you can skip this part, but if you'd like to learn a little bit more, maybe even if you're familiar with prompting, this might be able to help you. What I'm going to do is go to my ChatGPT account. If you're in my community, you'll get access to all these GPTs I've built to just make it easier and quicker for you if you're starting out building AI voice agents. So you can see this is Voice Pioneer's prompt builder, and we're just going to do something simple. If we want to recreate that surfing agent, I'll show you how to do it right now. And hopefully this will be the beginning of a series where I teach you how to build more complex agents on top of this that have real world functions. Don't get me wrong, in this video I'll show you how to build real world functions, but not to the extent of fine tuning them for something like a restaurant or maybe a golf course or a car shop. So here we go. Let's do the surf shop one. Okay, so I'll tell it what we want. Surfing, boom. That's all the information we really need to give it. Obviously, if you're building this off a real website, I would upload all of the information that it needs to know right into here, and then it would go straight into the prompt. So we'll hit upload. Okay, and now you can see it's generating it. And I'll briefly explain the way I've set this up here. I always make all of my prompts with AI voice agents devised into 4 separate categories. So you have roles, rules, steps, and skills. This is like any agent prompt, it's going to have variation of this prompting technique: roles, rules, steps, skills. So here we have the role set up. The GPT knows this. Skills, greeting customers, objective, assist customers, and then tone. So here's the rules for the agent: maintain a laid back, friendly, helpful, think friendly, local surfer. Pretty good. That's good. Stay on topic, avoid long rambling. That's important for AI voice agents. And then obviously the steps. Hey, this is Matt Shop. How can I help you catch some waves today? We could change that a little bit. So we would just, you know what, I'll copy and paste this because it's pretty good. And I'll put this, for the sake of our illustration, directly into Retell AI. And we'll put this here, universal prompt. So I'll use this here. And what you need to do is set up the welcome message. So you have 3 different options here in Retell AI. You can do user initiates, AI remains silent until the user speaks first, or you can do AI begins with a dynamic message. That means it just says whatever it wants at the beginning. And then we can do a predefined message, what I find works the best. And we'll just put, hey there, welcome to Seaside Surfing. This is Matt's shop. It always will begin with that message if we have that here in the welcome message. And this is why, by the way, some people are able to spin up demos really quickly. I had a friend who she was at a nail salon, and he was talking back and forth, and he's like, noticed the lady's running and she's trying to pick up the phone while doing nails, and he's like, hey, do you need help with that? And she's like, yeah, of course. And so he ends up pitching her on AI voice, building her a demo. He's like, give me 10 minutes, builds her a demo right there in the shop, puts it into Retell AI, by the way, and then shows it to her, trained on all of the website's data, and she's absolutely shocked. If you want to build demos quickly, use my custom GPT. It's fantastic. So now what we'll go into is just voice customization. So you have a variety of voices here on Retell. It is less than VAPI, but the good part is you can add custom voices, and you can do this through 11 Labs. Just put in the number, and then you'd put in your API key in the settings. Okay, we'll go back. So the voice I use for this, I liked Ethan. Sounded like a cool surfer. You can play with a lot of these voices. Okay, perfect. So we'll hit use voice. And then for the LLM that we're going to be using here, I like GPT-4o. It's the best. Obviously, real-time beta just came out, which is super cool. If you saw my last video, you can see how that would actually work in the real world. But obviously right now it's really expensive. As you can see, it's $1.50 a minute, which is absurd compared to the other LLMs here. So if you're doing demos, maybe try using real-time beta, but for everything else, real world, GPT-4o is the best. Now, you might be tempted, caveat, to use GPT-4o mini, and I could see why, because it's faster, less latency, but it does tend to make more mistakes, specifically when doing function calling. So I recommend using GPT-4o. That's the best. I haven't used Claude or Haiku, these two, as much, but GPT-4o is pretty good. Next, we'll go into the functions here, and this is something that if this AI assistant was to book an appointment maybe, or need any information, like you saw how it asked me if I wanted to schedule a surf lesson earlier on. Well, that kind of functionality can only happen if we have a predefined function here that checks the date and time. You see, LLM models by default aren't able to know the current date and time, so we have to connect them to the real world somehow, and we do that through function calling. So we'd go up here, and I'll go through the settings, and this is where you would add that function. So you hit add, and there's already some predefined functions. By default, I normally keep it at end call, so we can just say, if the user wants to hang up, says goodbye, or so on, use this function. So this tells the LLM when to invoke this function. If the user says goodbye, the LLM can now hang up the phone on its own, which is pretty cool. Okay. Awesome. The next thing we're going to do here is go to speech settings, and I'll show you how to actually connect this function to Make.com in a second when I get there, but let's go through the settings first. So you have speech settings here. I like to have a little background noise. This is similar to Vappy, where you can do a coffee shop, but you actually have more background noises than Vappy offers. I like to do coffee shop. It sounds the most realistic. And then I'll go here to the settings, and this is pretty cool. You can't do this in Vappy either, is control the sound volume of the background noise. I like that around 50%. And then what you want is responsiveness. So if you want the AI to respond quickly, obviously we do. We keep that at very high, so we'll keep that at 1. Interruption sensitivity. This is important. If you want to prioritize the user, you want to make sure they're able to go, hey, hang on a second, and then it interrupts the AI assistant. But there's a caveat there as well. If you have it too high, it will pick up background noise and then take that as input as somebody's voice and then stop the communication, and it freaks people out. They're like, why are you stopping talking? So you want to have that a little bit. I like 0.8 around there. It's pretty good. Enable back channeling. Similar to Vappy, we can set up, it has some frequent words it will say as you're talking. It'll go like, yeah, as you saw in the demo, or, oh, really? So I like to do something like put, yeah, here are the words we can use, or, That's pretty good for now. Here's something that's pretty cool that we have, which is endemic to Retell, and that is boosted keywords. So you can provide a customized list of keywords to expand the model's vocabulary. So if the model doesn't know a certain keyword, you can actually give it and say, oh, this is, I don't know, some sort of surf shop lingo that you could give it, like Balboa surfboards, I don't know, shortboard. So you could give it certain keywords that it can use that it typically wouldn't have access to. Okay. This setting right here enables speech normalization, converts text like numbers, currency into human-like spoken forms to make it sound more natural, but you do pay a price in latency of 100 milliseconds, you can see. So I typically keep that off. And then this is interesting too, disable transcript formatting, also increases latency, but make sure that if somebody's giving their phone number, then it doesn't get interpreted as a transcript. So it's a little bit smarter in that regard. So I typically add that, and you can see the latency goes up here. If I turn it on and off, it goes up here. But yeah, I'll keep that off right now. So you can use this setting here, pronunciation, to pronounce certain words a certain way. And what's cool is you'd have to go to an IPA or CMU formatter, and you can do that over here, but I'm not going to cover that in this moment, and search for it, and then it will give you the specific way to pronounce this word, and then you'd input that into Retell. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, let me delete that, is go to call settings. This is simple. Voicemail detection. It will, if it's calling doing outbound, it will hang up or leave a voicemail if voicemail is detected. That's cool. I don't normally have that on if I'm doing inbound calls. And then end call and silence. So you can give it a certain amount of time here where if it doesn't hear anything, it will just end the call. So it's not just burning minutes if somebody calls it by accident or is trying to troll you. Max call duration. I don't have it set to an hour. I think that's pretty long because that would be very expensive. So I keep it typically around 5 minutes for most use cases. And then at this point, it will just end the call if it passes the 5-minute threshold. Post-call analysis. This is pretty cool, and it's similar to the key inputs function, I believe, in Vappy. You can give it a predefined set of key terms that it's trying to extract out of the call, such as the appointment date or the patient name, and then it will extract that information and tabulate it, organize it, and that makes it particularly helpful when you're exporting information out to Make because it's already formatted here. So you can define those things. I would typically do it if you go like, hey, let's do, for example, surf lesson date, okay? And then you have to give a specific description here. It's very important. So this is how the LLM would actually know what kind of information it's capturing. And then you'd save that right there. Last thing, we have security settings. This is typically if you're using something like you want it to be HIPAA compliant and if you don't want those call recordings to be stored here, you just turn on opt out of sensitive data storage, similar to Vappy. Last thing I use quite frequently actually is a fallback voice ID. And especially if you're servicing this to real clients, you have to give them a backup line. The reason for this is OpenAI will have a crazy outage, and guess what? Now you're responsible and your customer's calling you going, hey, our line's dead, what's going on? So you have to have a fallback. This doesn't account, just to be clear, for OpenAI going out of power or something. You'd have to set up a completely separate phone number that you have designated, trained just like this one, and basically a duplicate, but instead of using ChatGPT, you use something like Anthropic AI, and instead of using, for the text-to-speech, DeepGram, you use maybe PlayHT, use a different model for each part of the process in making these AI voice agents. And here, all we have is a fallback for if the voice side of things doesn't work, which can happen with 11 Labs. Sometimes you'll get a dead voice and you'll call 11 Labs and it won't work for some reason. So this is nice because if the voice doesn't work, not talking about the LLM, but the voice doesn't work, then we can have that hooked up to an alternative. And maybe in this case, you'd want to use something like DeepGram instead of an 11 Labs voice. So this is just if someone calls the 11 Labs voice doesn't work, it would go over to DeepGram, which is useful. Many of you in the group were expressing discontent about not being able to connect Make.com with Retell AI. And after about 2 hours of practice myself and a bit of difficulty, I was finally able to get it to work and was able to also pinpoint what exactly was going wrong. I'll show you here how I fixed this problem and how you will be able to build any Make.com integration if you make this slight little tweak in your setup if you've tried this already. When we go over to Make.com, what we're going to do is just simply open up a webhook. So if you've done this with Vappy before, it's pretty much the same procedure, except we're going to make a slight simple tweak in order to make this work. And then I'll show you where to copy and paste the information in Retell AI. We go over to webhook. And if this is your first time using Make.com, you'll go over and typically press custom webhook. So what this is basically it's a link that Retell AI will be linked with and then be able to send information to and from Retell AI system to Make.com. So it's pretty simple, not too complicated. What we're going to do is just choose this webhook right here. Retell tutorial, I've already pre-made this, but you can make it yourself very easily. And I'll go copy address to clipboard. Once I've copied this address, I'll go back and we'll input this here at the agent level webhook URL. It's important we input this here because this is the designated link where Retell sends out information. So if we go inbound call webhook URL, this is for something separate if you're using dynamic variables. I won't get into that in this video, but essentially all you need in order to integrate this with Make.com is this agent level webhook URL. Once it's copied, we'll go back to Make and we're going to do something, and it's very important you follow in the exact order in which I do this. It's very important that once we want to begin testing sending information over to Make.com from Retell, we have to first hit test agent before we press this button over here, redetermine data structure. This is because, as you'll see in a second, as soon as you press redetermine data structure, then it's listening to everything coming in. And what's interesting about Retell is the second you begin the call, it actually sends information over to Make.com, and it would trigger the webhook without sending all of the end call analysis over as well. Might sound a little confusing, but it's a huge problem that most of you guys have been having in the community. So I'm going to fix that right now for you. If we go to Retell AI and we put this information in, what we want to do is hit test first in this order, test, and then what we'll do, allow.
Hey there, welcome to Seaside Surfing. This is Matt's shop. How can I help you catch some waves today?
Now we'll press redetermine data structure. Hey Matt, I would like to maybe book some sort of surf lessons. Never mind. Perfect. So we just stopped it, and if we look over here, we see the webhook information has been successfully sent over and the structure has been determined. That's great. You want to see that green, and you want to make sure you see it only after clicking end agent. Now if we hit OK, this will all make sense in a second. We're going to go add module. Now obviously I'm going to put it into Google Sheets so that you can see what it is exactly that we're manipulating. So I'll go add a row. I've already pre-made a Google Sheet that's just a simple CRM that captures the user's information when they've completed a booking. Go CRM, Retell, tutorial CRM. Okay, sheet. Just sheet 1. And then you have this information here. So we're going to populate this. This is a predefined CRM I've used for other use cases, but it works for what we're doing. Here it is. That's exactly what you want to see. Okay, so if you do this correctly, you'll see the exact information I'm seeing. If you do it incorrectly, you won't see this information. You'll see only part of it, and that will be the first call information sent over. You don't want that. And what we'll do here, just for the sake of demonstration, we'll put in transcript so you can see transcript information. We'll put that there, populate it. We're just taking information that's coming, by the way, if this is your first time doing this, from Retell, and we're mapping it to specific points in the Google Sheets. Should be pretty simple. We'll put recording URL right here. I'm not going to put in all of this information for right now, but what I will do is put in the call date. So we can just do start timestamp right there. Okay. So this just is proving the point that you can send information over to Make.com, and then I'll show you how you can send specific information over to Make.com from Retell and have it formatted, like I think I showed you a little bit earlier. Okay, so we'll hit OK right here. And now this should technically be set up, except we have to do one thing, and that is we have to set up a filter here. The reason most of you guys are having trouble when you try to get this set up and working is because watch what happens. I'll show you what happens so that you know what not to do in this situation. We'll hit run once and watch what happens. We're running, it's waiting to hear from Retell. We go click test your agent. Watch what happens. Testing.
Hey there. Welcome to Seaside.
And look,
This is Matt's shop.
let me stop it. Look, it already sent information over, and that's not the end call analysis. That's just the beginning call start. We don't want that. And so it's already triggering the webhook. Obviously, you can see that's a problem because it doesn't have all of our data. See, so it's inserted rows, but not the rows we want. We can go here and see, yeah, none of the information is populated. So what we have to do, this is very important or you'll be driving yourself crazy, set up a very simple filter and then turn on scheduling. So we'll turn on scheduling right here. We'll delete all data. And this is important because, yeah, delete. You have to have it continuously running and if you want this filter to work. So if we go here and we're just going to put in extra filter, condition, event, and it's going to be call analyzed. This is what you want. So you see it actually up here. You can just copy and paste it or just write it. Call analyzed. Perfect. And now what we can do is actually test this. We'll hit save and go back and we can watch it in action. So if we call the agent, we'll see that it filters out the start. If I go start, let's make sure it's on. Scheduling's on. Ready?
Hey there. Welcome to Seaside Surfing. This is Matt's shop.
See, it just fired. Hey Matt, I'm wondering what the price of a surfboard that's a short one would cost.
Hey there. I'm not Matt, but I'm here to help you out. For short boards, the price can vary depending on...
Okay, we'll hit stop. And now you can see, boom, both have processed only at the end call analysis exactly how we want it to be. So if we go back to our tutorial CRM, there it is right there. We have the URL and of course the transcript. And this can be configured additionally if you want more information coming from Retell. You can see there's all kinds of information in here. Now I'll leave that up to your discretion, but you can see like the call ID, different statuses, transcript object, latency, metadata. Basically anything you need should be in here in the call analyzed section of the webhook. And so that briefly explains how to hook up Make.com. Now I'm not going to go into a custom integration for like building a restaurant webhook, but you get the point. That's just simple. Now you can be connected to Make and build your own integrations from there and build off of what I just showed you. But even to take it a step further, this is something that I built to help everyone. So what we'll do here is go to the function section and hit add, and we'll do a custom function to get the exact date and time for a specific city. So I've already done this, but I'm going to make the custom function for you right here, and I'll teach you how to make it using my own custom GPT. So this is something that you'll use very frequently, whatever it is that you're doing when building through Retell. So we'll do get date and time, and then it's very important you give a description of the function so that the LLM knows what it's dealing with. So function current. And then we'll do our URL. So we'll go over to make.com really quick and we'll set up a webhook for the time and date. You can see we have this set up here. We'll actually do it in this one. So this is exactly how I have it configured. I'm not going to build it for you because you already know how to set up a custom webhook and a webhook response. A webhook response is just simply going here, add another module, webhook. webhook response, click this button. So that's all set up. And then you'll set up the tools function variable, book another one like we made before. We have the tools function, and this time we're saying format date now, like we've done in previous videos, in this exact format, and we'll do it for the city Denver, okay? And then from there, what we'll do is put this as the response that we have current date time right there and variable time. That's what it's going to be setting back to Retell when we're done here. And what we have to do is go back to Retell and set up the JSON schema that we're going to be using. Luckily for you, I've built a custom GPT that handles all of this for you, so you don't even have to lift a finger. Very nice of me, I know. You're welcome. But if we go to JSON call formatter, what we'll do is just say, this is the one I've built. You can have it in the link below. Let's say get weather for Denver. Okay. It's already pre-programmed for Retell AI. Yep. And city. And yes, it's Denver. Just making sure. There it is. Denver. Okay, it's all set up. So we'll copy this information and just go right into Retell AI, put in the JSON, and format JSON. There we go. It's all formatted. And we'll set it to speak after execution. Normally I just have it run silently in the background, but you can have it run during execution and it will say, hey, let me check that for you. In this case, I'll just do speak after execution. And then we'll input the custom URL here, the date and time. Here we go. Copy address. Just like we did before, except it's for the date and time. Put that in there and save. And now it's very important that you do this one extra feature and you say, okay, when booking appointments, invoke tool call this, or if the user asks for the date or time. So now the LLM knows exactly how it can get the date and time and give it to the user. We'll hit save here. And now the agent is pretty much all set up. One last feature we didn't cover is testing the LLM, so you can go in and write and actually talk to it without having to call it like you do with Vappy. Pretty cool features. Just say, hey, and it will go through. Let's ask, what is the date? The date is October 22nd. Perfect. It just made the function call. So that's pretty cool. Alrighty, something really cool just happened as I was recording this tutorial. Retell AI actually got an update, and you can see what it is. Up here we see this new tab called Knowledge Base. And this is awesome because it's similar to Vappy where you can attach a knowledge base, but it's a little bit more advanced, and I'll show you why in a second. In this knowledge base, you can connect it to real live websites and get current updates from those websites, and you can even upload your own personal information like you can do with Vappy in files. So I'll go into how knowledge bases work here with their newest update, briefly showing you how you can get set up. And so we'll just click knowledge base, and let's say that building off of our last voice agent here that we have, that's for a surf shop in Virginia Beach. Let's say we want to build a relevant knowledge base off of their website. So I'll just go here and we'll do surf shop knowledge base. You'll name the knowledge base, add documents. And this is really cool to me. Obviously we all know the upload files feature, but we can now add web pages. So what I'll do is click add web pages, enter the URL of the surf shop I want to use. So here's the surf shop in Virginia Beach. I'll copy paste this, and then we'll put it directly into Retell, and Retell will do all the heavy lifting for us. Instead of me having to scrape the pages myself, it will go through, scan all of the relevant URLs, and we can select them. So here you go. Look at all these URLs we have associated. That's just incredible. That is just amazing. We only want the About Us feature, Contact Us, and the Teams. And that's about it. So you can upload, I believe it's up to 400 URLs. I don't think you can do more than that from what I've tried. So we'll hit save. We'll just do 4 pages, and then we'll click this super cool button which auto syncs the web pages every 12 hours, as you can see here. So it'll continuously be updating and monitoring those web pages to ensure the agent has the latest information. Save. Uploaded by at this time. We can resync that at any moment we choose. And now what I can do is go back to the agent, go back to Matt's Surf Shop, and under here at knowledge base, we can add that knowledge base we just created and just go Surf Shop. There it is. And here we have the knowledge base. And so I'll typically add one line in here under the rules for the agent, which just says, here you go, always refer to knowledge base for information about our services. And there, as simple as that, we have a knowledge base that's continuously monitoring the latest updates to a website, just like a real employee would, except our AI obviously has a photographic memory, which is great. Okay, so we'll go back and now Alright, so I'll go briefly into multi-prompting. Obviously, to keep this video brief, I'm not going to go deep into multi-prompting. That could be an entirely separate video. But for Retell AI, multi-prompting is pretty simple, and they give you some nice examples to make it easier for you to understand and to implement yourself. So if we go to multi-prompting agent over here, and we can do, this is for more lengthy and complex purposes, right? So if you're multi-prompting, you're not going to want to use this for everyday use cases. It's more if you're doing something really specific, and you can see some examples like dentist reschedule, lead qualification, anything where you have a complex prompt, and if you're going to put all of that information into one prompt, it will jumble up the LLM and make it harder for it to complete a set instructions. So maybe a general rule of thumb is you don't want more than 5 instructions in an LLM one system prompt, or it could get confused. I don't believe, that's just from my own experimentation, but it might be less, might be more in the real world. So let's go and just do a simple, I'll show you a lead qualification, multi-prompt, and what that looks like and how you can set one up. So here you have the system prompt just like we did before. Nothing's really changing here, except we have this new area called edit prompt tree. So if we hit edit prompt tree, you can see that we have 3 different states here is what's going on. If we click on the states, there we have the prompts. And so for each prompt, there is a separate task. So look, here's the background information, then here's the task. First, extend a warm greeting to your customer, ask if this is a good time to call. If it's not a good time, to call back. So this is an outbound agent calling to lead qualify for a real estate property. So if we go down here, we have 2 options. A, the person might say, yes, this is a great time to call and I would love to schedule a tour for property X. Then we would go down to this block. This prompt here just schedules the tour for the person. So you can see we have ask user when they're available for the tour, call function, check availability. So that's a function call that's going directly into cal.com. It really organizes everything. It's kind of like having different chapters in a book. You keep all the subject information relating to that chapter in said chapter and then move on to the next chapter. And that's kind of what we're doing here with these different states. So if we go to schedule tour, you have all this information, you have different tool calls. If you actually want the agent to transfer over to these blocks, what you have to do, put in a simple line that says, okay, if yes, transition to schedule tour. As you can see here, if they want a tour, schedule tour. So it moves the agent over into that conversational pathway. And if no, or hesitant, so the LLM has to make that judgment call, do call function end call to hang up politely. Then it will go to the callback section. And I'll even test it just so you can see what it looks like. Hello, Sam. This is Chloe from Retell Real Estate Company. This is what the voice would sound like. Yes, great time. This is, you're calling at a great time. Great. I'm calling because you recently showed interest in the property at 524. I want to visit it. That's wonderful. When are you available? Tomorrow. What time works for you? 7 p.m. I'll check. So it checks the availability. It seems there's an issue. Now, obviously, it's not connected to cal.com, so it's not going to work. So it's going to keep going, but you see how it transitions into the different paths. Well, that pretty much sums up everything I wanted to say about Retell and how you can harness it as a lower latency, easier to use voice agent building software and platform. Thanks so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope this video was helpful for you, whether you're a seasoned Retell AI developer or just starting out, and saving you time and money in building these incredible AI voice agents. You can find all the information you need in my community below, including the GPTs we talked about and the different prompting techniques in this video. And if you're serious about making money with voice AI, I highly suggest joining the community. You'll find an incredible group of AI entrepreneurs who are killing it right now selling these AI voice agents. That's all for now. See you in the next video.
Tectonic, where AI finds its voice. Come for the tech, stay for the transformation.